Here's what you should care about the UFC 312 card, February 9th in Sydney in under 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event. From HBF Stadium Festival Hall. Not even backstage, we're literally outside. Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history? Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up because we're killing it.
Australian MMA podcast. My name is Mitchell Tinley, and look, it won't be 5 minutes. I lied, but it's YouTube. What are you going to do? Look, you could see the time code before you click the video. Now, look, UFC 312 has copped so much shit. So many people have been unhappy, calling this one of the worst cards in UFC history or modern UFC history. And look, I'm going to break it down as to why you should care. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably a fan of Australian MMA. If not, you're probably just a random angry fan from another country that'll probably put your country's flag in the comments, which I also welcome. Great for engagement. Now, first fight of the card, Quillan Sourkill taking on Anshul Jubilee. Now, Quillan Sourkill, the heavy favourite. Anshul Jubilee, I think, has fought in the road to UFC and in the UFC, and he's okay. India, he's okay. But Quillan Sourkill, truly do believe he's going to be a future championship contender. Basically, the spot you see Jack Della in now, that's kind of where I see Quillan in the next under 2 years without that. He's that good. Ask anyone. He sort of stormed onto the scene. He's been doing MMA for, less than 5-6 years, whatever it is. Got his black belt in like under 4. I'm just throwing these numbers at the wall here. But look, I'm in the ballpark. Look, if you watch him train, if you watch him go about his life, he's absolutely just incredible. He's been training like professional for like 5 or 6 years. It's ridiculous. If you watch him in Dana White Contender Series, that was the worst Quillan Sourkill I've ever seen. So that shows you just how amazing he is, because Dana White got up on his seat, up off his seat to sort of congratulate Quillan Sourkill, because that's how impressed he was. That was the worst fight he's ever had. So look, I'm going to predict that he puts a Jubilee away in under 2 rounds. Rear naked choke. I don't normally do predictions. There you are. Quillan Sourkill, performance of the night coming at you. The next fight you should care about is the 2026 Hex main event if the UFC didn't exist. That is right. 2 former Hex Fight Series welterweight champions, Kevin Doucet, the Frenchman, via New Zealand, spent time in Australia. He's beloved by us, made his UFC debut last year in Sydney. He's just the most intimidating man I've ever met in my life. He is the former Hex welterweight and middleweight champion. He is taking on Jono McAuliffe, who is the former Hex welterweight champion. Probably would have been Hex middleweight champion too if he stuck around a little longer. Interesting thing about Jono is the fact that 18 months ago he lost to Alden Bates. It was a stoppage, controversial to some, but it was a stoppage. And look, he came back roaring, and he beat Matt Vale, dominated Matt Vale, and then into the Contender Series, beautiful triangle, dominated there, and now he's making his UFC debut on the most important card for all Australians. So UFC is definitely high on Jono. Kevin's coming off a tough battle against Brian Battle in the UFC, which kind of was the first hurdle in his UFC career. Kevin is fucking amazing. Jono is amazing. This is my secret sort of sleeper fight of the night. I think it's going to be violent. Look, no disrespect to, there's a whole lot of international fights. I don't care about them, except for Cody Steele. He's pretty cool. Check him out. Next up, the most highly anticipated debutante versus debutante since I can bloody remember. It is nepotism versus favoritism. It is Colby Thickness, who is fucking talented as they come. So interesting journey to the UFC, but he's bloody good. Fighting out of the corner of Alex Volkanovski, and fighting out of the corner of Ilia Topuria, his older brother, Alex Topuria. It's going to be very interesting because both of them are in the corner. Ilia Topuria, of course, taking the UFC featherweight belt from Volkanovski. So it's kind of like the fans are making those two fight again through their teammates and siblings. Colby Thickness has been a teammate. I think he first walked into freestyle MMA when he was 13, I think it is. So 13 years he's been training partner basically of Alex Volkanovski. He's been, a coach on The Ultimate Fighter when he was there. Yeah, interesting cat, amazing grappler, probably the greatest heart in MMA. Does take a few too many shots to the head as he has throughout his career, which is a concern, and obviously form as well, because he just spent the last couple of years just beating up Balinese guys. But before that, he's beaten some tough guys. Michael Mano was a stud. Michael Barber was a stud. Sam Kikembo was is a stud. All three of those guys are still title contenders in the regional scene. So I think Colby Thickness is... Look, I think you can take out Spurrier. Like I've said previously before, I don't know how far he will go. I don't know if he will compete for a title. If you talk to him, you will bloody believe it, and you will believe in him because he's got this undeniable self-belief. A little bit of autism, but this unbelievable self-belief, and he trains at the very best, man. If he can do rounds of Volk, he can fight anyone. Alex Topuria has fought legitimate tomato cans on his way up, but it doesn't mean he's not good. He just kind of has had not the greatest fights. But if you think that doesn't make him good, that's ridiculous. Because once again, trains with his brother non-stop. He's like his brother's coach, who is the best featherweight in the world because he holds the belt. So in a way, he just might not have, similar to Colby in his Bali fights. It's just maybe that's all the fights he could get. Maybe no one wanted to fight Spurrier's brother. I don't know. But look, he's definitely going to be good. If you talk to a lot of the analysts, they're saying that, Alex he's got probably heavier hands, he might gas early. Colby might sort of outlast and end up submitting him. But look, who knows? All I know is that this is going to be so exciting to have Volkanovski in one corner, Topuria in the other. And I'm sure both boys are going to want to sort of step out of those shadows and forge their own path. So very excited about that one. And I need to go get my Uber Eats is here. So stay here. 2 secs. I'm back. I had wings. All right, the next fight is Wang Kong Bruno Brazil. About same fight, so I don't care. But I'm sure it'll be an absolute banger. I think... Yeah, Dwayne's. She's a chick that had, like, the Joker mask and face paint. And then Bruno. She had the Batman mask on, because, like, Batman and Joker. And then she gave her a rose, and the other chick threw a rose. So I'm sure it'll be fun. It's Australian MMA, and I don't care as much. Next fight, Big Train, Tom Nolan taking on Vyacheslav Borshev. He's a bit of a kickboxing guy. He's a lot of experience. I think he weighed in like very late into the official weigh-ins. I don't know if he's having a hard weight cut. But Tom Nolan, mate, he is, as the nickname says, he's a big train and there's a lot of coal in him. I don't know. Look, I think he's learnt his lesson, not that I'm analysing it, but he was always killing people. And then he got caught out one time, and I feel like he's learned how to sort of take a step back and know when to sort of bring violence. And I think it was almost the best thing for him. I think we're going to look back one day, however he does in his career, and we're going to be like, that was the moment. That was like the turning point. A lot of people are almost saying that Tom shouldn't stand with him. If you don't know Tom Nolan, I think he's mature, but I don't think he's scared. I think Tom Nolan is going to stand with the man. I think he's going to bang, and I think he's going to come out victorious. Once again, don't listen to me. It's called Australian MMA for a reason. But I think Tom Nolan's going to come out on top, come out victorious, and I think it's going to be like a nice little launching pad for a huge 2025. Up next, another man that'll be launched into a huge 2025. I think he's going to have nothing but ranked fights for the rest of the year. But Jack Jenkins going up against Gabriel Santos, who looks super confident at the ceremonial weigh-ins. I do believe, though, that Jack is he's going to be too much for him. He actually told me, which I'm not going to tell you guys, but he actually told me in our interview, which you can see on YouTube, about how he's basically going to set up the victory. So if that comes to fruition, I will put that clip out. But everyone is very high on Jack Jenkins. He's probably one of the most articulate fighters out there, and the way he breaks it all down, not just the business of the fight game, but fights itself. So let me tell you this, if Jack Jenkins can get it done, which I wouldn't know, but I would assume he's the favourite, we will see him fight nothing but top 15 guys for the rest of the year. And then into 2026, man, real shots at titles. So, look, I think Jack Jenkins is that good. Am I biased? Absolutely. But I thought this before I considered him a friend. So, look, Jack Jenkins all the way. I'm thinking round 2, TKO. Onto the main card, and this is a bit of a redemption one, I believe. Jake Matthews, the Celtic kid. I feel like he's being forgotten about a little bit. 10 years in the game, he was the youngest, and he'll probably continue to be the youngest Australian UFC fighter we've ever had type thing. And then he just kind of gets forgotten about because he's been around so long. He's taking on Francisco Prado, who took on Jamie Malarkey and lost that bout. And he's kind of coming up a weight class too to meet Jake. No one wanted to fight Jake Matthews. I was talking to his manager. They could not get anyone to step in the cage and come over to Australia to fight Jake Matthews for good reason. He's a lot better than sort of where he is on the ladder. His stand-up, if you're watching him recently, he looks to be like in the best sort of form of his career. And he's got all that experience at like, what's he, 30? Like, it's insane. Honestly, I think what we see from Jake, once again, super biased, but I think he's going to remind everyone kind of why he was so special. He's gone through a stage of, win one, lose one, win one, lose one type thing, but I think he's really going to start putting a bit of a streak together, and he looks really zoned in. So Jake Matthews, this fight's definitely one to watch. I think it's going to be an early stoppage, maybe even in the late third. Final 3 fights. Guys, if you haven't realised by now, it's super biased. But look, he's being as honest as possible. It's always hard to do UFC cards. Justin Taffa taking on Talison Teixeira. Now, apparently pretty good at the old subs. Justin, you just can't count Justin Taffa out. Look, it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be 2 heavyweights swanging and banging. And I don't know, man. The whole card coming in, I feel like people have talked a lot of shit about it. And what normally happens is they end up being the best cards. So I'm going to go out here on a limb. I'm going to say that Justin Taffa is coming up against a very dangerous opponent. But Taffa, round 1 KO. That's all I'm saying. Let me know what you think. It's my channel. Finally, co-main event, Zhang Weili taking on Tatiana Suarez. Now, I feel like Suarez is like almost, she might even be the favourite. She's got a really great wrestling background, pedigree. Weili is kind of really being Australian. She's got, I believe, the great Frank Hickman in her corner. I think he's had a bang tower. Frank Hickman, of course, helps with the wrestling, done a lot of work with the freestyle and the Volkanovski camp and all that sort of stuff. So Weili kind of like has been like an adopted Australian. I think she'll get it done. I think Suarez is like really, really good. Although I think she might be the favourite. I just got a feeling that this might be Weili's not last one, but I feel like this will be a victory for her. But then we might see the downhill after this. I know that's really weirdly specific, but I don't know. I think Weili's going to pull it out. I'm really split on this, though. I do think it's like 50-50, but if I had to pick someone who won't sit on the fence, Weili. And finally, Dricus du Plessis taking on Sean Strickland. Now, it's very, very weird. Everyone, like influencers, celebrities, sort of public, traditional media, all want Dricus du Plessis to win. You can feel it. He's in all the videos. He's doing all the stuff. But Sean Strickland is very much like a man of the people. He calls Australian people white trash, and we love him for it. It's really weird. He's weirdly authentic, whether you hate him or don't like him. Look, whether you love him or hate him, he is fucking entertaining, even if he looks like a child predator. Look, it's going to be a 5-round war. Let's be real. It's going to go to a decision. Either man, I think, is going to edge out the victory. Dricus du Plessis, I think he's in the best form of his career. And he looks sort of in the best shape. He's just feeling it. If I had to pick someone, I think Dricus is going to do it again. I just think what he did to Izzy was pretty impressive. And Sean seems to kind of see himself on the other end of that shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dricus walks away the victor. Now, guys, that was why you should watch UFC 312. Look, I do think it's the last. It was the last UFC, I think, on the New South Wales tourism deal. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one coming, because on that Mark Boris interview, don't know who that is, but he seems like a big deal. Chris Minns, the New South Wales Premier, and Dana White wanted together. So I can only imagine that they're like cooking up something special. But then again, I don't know the finer details of all that shit. So I would guarantee you that the UFC is coming back to Sydney, I would say within the next 18 months. There you go. Enjoy it. Check it out. Grab it on Ko or whatever. I don't care. Legally stream it. Not the police. See you next time.
Vex MMA has officially teamed up with PRP Global and their brand new website is now live. Head over to Vex MMA to check out their latest gear, perfect for fighters and fans alike. Whether you're stepping into the cage or just repping the lifestyle, Vex MMA has you covered.